A pleasant day to everyone. So for this lessons, I'm going to talk about marketing, technical, legal, financial, and the socio-economic aspect. So for the first aspect, and we have here the marketing aspect. Once we talk about market, based on the definition, it is a place where the buyer and the sellers meet. So ito yung lugar or sitwasyon no, na kung saan the buyers need a certain product or a certain service wherein no, available itong maibigay ng ating mga buyers. And for us to identify no, what are the demand of our um, customers, we need to have the so-called market study and also how can we supply those demand. So for the questions of marketing study, we need to have the so-called marketing analysis because again, marketing is about not just um, selling your product or doing different kind of marketing strategy. It also talks about how can you study your market itself or your customers. So for the first one, we have here the analysis of current market. So, pag sinabi natin current market, these are the populations of the consumers na kung saan sila yung may kailangan ng product or ng service mo. So, how can you analyze them? Obviously, you need to identify their demographic profile. So, pag sinabing demographic profile, kasama na dyan yung kanilang um, personal informations, even their income status, or let's say their professional status, because through this, we can identify what are the things or what are the needs of our customers. And the next one is the competitions, which is, I believe, hindi naman talaga yan nawawala. However, no, ang competitions, it's our opportunity to grow. However, the competitions can also give an edge to us. How? Obviously, we were going to analyze our competitors. So, saan ba sila strength, no? Ano ba yung mga weaknesses na na-observe or nakikita natin sa kanila, which it can help us, no, kung paano natin ma-modify or ma-manipulate yung ating business offer or yung ating products. And the next one is the potential for the market's future developments. You are not just settled for the current market. So, alamin mo or you're going to study no kung paano mo pa mapapalawak yung market mo. Once we talk about market future development, ay ito yung hindi lang paglawak, kung hindi kasama dito yung tinatawag natin na patronizations of your product or services. So, pag sinabing patronize, si market mo, yung current market mo, all throughout, okay, ikaw at ikaw lang yung bibilan or i-avail ang iyong service. And then, paano nga po ba no, nagkakaroon na tinatawag na potential for future development? Ito yung pagkakaroon natin ng different variety of product or different variety of service. Para po, yung current market natin, hindi na po siya papunta pa sa ating mga competitors. And the next one we have here, the potential avenues for generating revenue. So pag sinabing potential avenues, ito po yung mga pamamaraan ng business kung paano pa siya kikita. Okay, so let's say you have a current product right now. So, yung current product mo na yun, pwede mo pa siyang padamihin. Pag sinabi padamihin, different variety of products. Or let's say, kung hindi man same product, you can also offer service in relation with your product, which can definitely give you different revenue. Since you already have the variety of service and product, you can generate revenue. The next one is what we have here, the sales projection. So as a business, syempre, para mag-succeed ka or for you to survive no in your daily activity. Okay, kailangan mo malaman kung magkano ba yung quota mo no para makasurvive ka in a daily basis. And the sales projections, okay, it can really also help us kung nag-grow ba ang business, no? And at the same time, how can we project sales? We need to have the so-called quota. Okay, magkano ba yung kailangang mabenta? Ilan ba yung kailangan mabenta? Para syempre makovered yung ating mga cost. And the next one is locate potential customers, clients, and source of contract work. again, you are not just settle for your current market. So, ang gagawin mo dyan, kung nasaan si market, syempre, doon ka ngayon pupunta. No? Your business or your product need to be accessible with them. All right, so the next one, let's talk about the difference between marketing strategy and the marketing or market feasibility study. So once we talk about marketing strategy, ito yung mga activities or strategy na ginagawa ni business, syempre para magkaroon siya ng mas maraming customers. So, which is I believe you already aware with the four P's, which are the products, price, promotion, and the place. And however, no, once we talk about market study, this is how can we go deep in on how can we analyze our market through the different product, price, promotion, place that we can offer to them. So the first one is determining the size and growth of total annual demand. So, paano natin ito nalalaman? This is according with the populations of your demographic profile, which is focusing on your target market. And then, another one is evaluate the annual supply situation. So, paano natin ito malalaman? This is based on the transactions happen to our competitors kasi they are the one who supply, no, the demand of our market. And then, the other one, identify the possible entry of competitors. So, um, paano ka ngayon papasok, no, sa ganitong industriya or how can you enter this kind of market? So, you need to analyze kung sino-sino, syempre, yung mga magiging kakompetensya mo. Uh, Bakit kailangan natin siyang malaman? Siyempre, para malaman natin kung ano pa yung mga demand na hindi nila kayang i-supply. And then for the fourth one, determine the possible market share of the products or service. So, ito na nga yun. Si customers may demand, si competitors may supply. However, the competitors wasn't able to supply well. So, dito ka ngayon papasok, no? Which is your market share. Kumbaga, yung pag sinabing market share, ito yung demand na hindi kayang i-supply ng ating competitors. And that is what we call market share. For the number five, establish a pricing policy. Syempre, ang mga mamimili, no, they are very price sensitive. So, you need to take a look, no, the different kinds of pricing strategy. And then for number six, determine the appropriate marketing program. Hindi po lahat ng advertisement or marketing techniques ay generic, no? So, you need to be specify kung anong klaseng product or services ba yung ino-offer mo. And through that, okay, you can have or can establish the right marketing program or marketing strategy. And then, um, para malaman natin ito, ayan, we need to focus on the certain things which are the major concern. Number one, study of demand. Demand is not just about the numbers of populations itself. Kailangan mo syempre malaman kung ano ba yung number ng target market mo. Okay? Gaano kanila kadalas ginagamit yung product o yung services na ito? Frequency, saan nakikita, saan nahahanap, saan nabibili. So, those questions, okay, can answer, no, the data of your demand. Same thing with the study of supply. So, sa supply naman, like what I've said kanina, it's all about the competitors' data. So, sa study of your supply, you're going to find out kung ilan ba yung quantity na pinoproduce ng kada competitors na meron ka. So, para malaman natin ito, just go within your vicinity. So, doon sa lugar na yan, ilan yung mga direct or indirect competitors mo. And then, you're going to interview them, okay, kung magkano ba yung nasa sold out nila or nabebenta nila, no, in a daily basis, tsaka siya i-multiply sa, let's say, in a week, no, kung parehas lang naman yung data. Pero kung hindi, okay, tanungin natin, no, tanungin nyo sila or you go or let's say proceed dun sa tinatawag na interview. So, you're going to interview them, no, kung in a month, yan, in a month from January to December, ilan yung nauubos silang product. So, sino-sino yung mga competitors mo na yon. So, pare-parehas yung tanong mo sa kanila, no? With regarding with how much they can supply to their market. And then, for number three naman is the demand supply analysis. So, dito mo na ngayon iko-contra dick or let's say dito mo na ngayon i-analyze kung yung demand ba ni market mo or na target market mo ay tumutugma doon sa availability of supply of your competitors. And then for number four, study of the price. So like what I've said kanina, market is very sensitive in terms of pricing, and at the same time, you also need to study, no, the so-called the demand price, and even your competitors' price. Yun, kailangan mo rin siyang aralin. Kasi maybe, dahil nga si competitors established na siya, alam na ng tao na ito yung presyo niya. So, kailangan mong aralin bakit naging ganun yung price niya. So that ikaw no bilang bagong pasok sa market, it's depends upon you no kung ano yung klaseng pricing strategy yung pwede mong magawa. And then for the last one is the marketing program. So dahil bago ka sa market, you need to have a lot of efforts no para mapansin ka no nung market mo. Kasi nga again, you are just new in the market. Now, let's talk about demand no. Pag sinabi kasing demand, this is a desire no of your customers or your consumers no to purchase your product or service in a given period of time. So kapag willing silang bumili, willing nilang bayaran, doon po nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na demand. And when it comes to demand, meron tayong tinatawag na past and also the future demand. So pag sinabing past, this is historical, no? It refers to the consumption in the past. So meaning you're going to sum up kung ilan po ang nakonsume nila, let's say in a year basis or in a month basis. And then, your future demand. So, kailan po nagkakaroon ng future demand? Siyempre, you're going to project no, the numbers of units sold in the past. And then, in having the so-called percentage of the population, you can also know no, what will be the projected demand. Okay, so these are the tools no para malaman natin kung nagkakaroon po ba ng demand in a yearly basis. So sabi ko nga kanina, meron tayong tinatawag na past demand, meaning nangyari na, historical na. Okay? So kailan nyo ito nalalaman or uh, how can you know no the data of demand? Again, it depends on the populations of your target market. So, aalamin mo, like for example, within your area, okay, tanong ka kay captain, no, barangay captain, ilan ang populasyon ng lugar ninyo for the past 5 years? Tapos, yung sa populasyon na yon, ilan yung babae, ilan yung lalaki, ilan yung may edad na ganito, and so on and so forth. So, you need to scrutinize or you need to filter out no, kung ilan ba yung target market mo within the area. So, dito, ayan, so palagi pong 5 years no ang nagiging projected demand at the same time yung demand ng 5 years nanggagaling din yan for the past demand nung 5 taon na nangyari na. Okay, so 5 years before, 5 years in the future. Now, so how this projected demand being computed? Okay, so let's say, okay, in hypothetical example, so let's say, in historical, syempre we have the 5 years nga na tinatawag. Let's say from 2014, you have 6,600 demand. For 15, 7,000. For 16, 8,500. For 17, you have 900, 400. 9,400 rather. And then for 2018, you have 10,100. So, ang gagawin mo lang dyan, you're going to add, no? Add the previous demand, which is yung 5 years nga, para makuha mo yung demand for the next year, which is 2019. So again, ayan, isasum mo lang lahat yan and then divided by 5. Bakit 5? Kasi nga po, your historical data is 5 years. So same thing din yan dito sa susunod na 2020. So anong gagawin mo na ngayon? So your calculations no, about your demand for 2020 will start with 2015 na. Okay? Kasi yun yung 5 years, no? Yun yung part ng 5 years mo. So, si 2014, kakalimutan mo na siya because the data of 2014 is already obsolete. Okay? So, again, lagi mo lang i-add, no, yung previous 5 years and then divided by 5. So by this given, okay, so 2019 you have 8,320. For 2020 you have 8,664. For 2021 you have 8,997. For 2022 you have 9,096. And for projections of the demand this year, okay, you can have 9,035. Another tool is what we have, the weighted moving average. So pag sinabing weighted moving average, bini-weigh in mo or binibigyan mo ng bigat or um ng gravity yung kada taon, no? So how can we compute it, no? Let's say based on this data. So now, ayan, let's have an example. So again, kunin mo lang ulit yung historical data from 5 years. And then, ang gagawin mo lang dyan, bibigyan mo ng gravity. I-weigh in mo or lalagyan mo ng bigat. Yung bigat, yung rationale ng bigat is nakadepende kung gaano ka-fresh yung data. Siyempre, pag mas current yung data natin, mas malaki yung ibibigay natin sa kanyang weight. Kasi siya yung nagiging mas relevant pa. Okay? Kumbaga, example, pag 1, less relevant, medyo relevant, and so on and so forth. Pag 5, ano siya, talagang relevant pa siya kasi nangyari lang siya for the previous year lang. Sabihin, isang taon lang yung pagitan. Now, so dahil mas matagal na si 2014, okay, ang weight lang natin sa kanya is 1. For 2015, our weight is 2. For 2016, our weight is 3. For 17, we have 4. And syempre yung pinaka-fresh natin, which is yung 2018, we have the 5. And then right after you have the so-called multiply and plus with this, okay, you're going to divide it into 15. Saan po nanggaling yung 15? I-divide mo po siya doon sa numbers of weight. Okay? So, ano yon? Siyempre, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is equal to 15. Okay? So, after nyan, okay, makukuha mo na ngayon kung ano ang weighted average for 2019. Ulit, ang una mong gagawin, okay, multiply the weight to the numbers of demand per year. Okay? Then right after mong ma-multiply, no, yung mga yearly weight in, tsaka mo ngayon sila i-add. Once you add everything, you're going to divide it into 15. So again, si 15, ang galing yan doon sa total weighted average natin. So same thing lang din ang gagawin mo pagdating dito sa 2020. Okay, so now let's compute the 2020. So equal sign, then open parenthesis 1 multiply by 2015, then close parenthesis, then add, then 2 multiply by 2016, then don't forget the open and close parenthesis, and then additional again for 3, then multiply by 2017, and then close parenthesis again, then add 4, multiply, open parenthesis for 2018, then close parenthesis, then add again 5, and then multiply by 2019. And then we're going to have 2 close parenthesis, then divided by 50. Yeah, and that's how it is. So, same thing lang din yan sa 2021 natin. So, open parenthesis again, then 1, multiply by 2060 na. Syempre, yun na yung part na magiging 1 natin as our past 5 years. Then, additional again. 2 multiply by 17, then additional again for 3, multiply, close parenthesis, open for 18, then add by 4, multiply by 2019, then close, add 5, multiply by 2020, then dalawang close parenthesis, multiply by 50. And then you can also, and then another is 20, next is 2022. So again, add lang doon sa part ng um, last 5 years, which is 2017. Then add 2, multiply close 80, add again 3, multiply close 90, add 4, multiply by 2020, then another add 5 multiplied by 2021, then 2 close parenthesis multiply by 12, and for the last one 2023. So again 1 multiply by 2018, and then add na tayo for 2 and multiply by 2019, and then add again 3 multiply by 2020, then add again 4 multiply by 2021, then add again 5 and multiply by 2022, then dalawa divided by 50. Okay. So, next na. And yeah, that's how it is. And then, the next one is the arithmetic straight line. So, ito, napaka-simple lang neto. So, first deduct the early historical data used to projection from the most recent data. Then, subtract 1 from the total number of years of the historical data. Third, divide the difference computed in step 1 by the number of years in step 2. And then for the fourth step, add the result computed from step 3 to the most recent data as projected figures. So like for example, ayan, for step 1, let's say we have here the 2018 and 14 demand. So kukunin mo lang yung difference niyan, 10,100, and then deduct or less by 6,600. So you can come up with 3,500. And then right after that, for step 2, total number of years minus 1. So number of years historical data is 5, less of 1 year, which is 1. So the difference is 4. And then for step 4, divide step 1 by step 2. So since you already have the difference of your 2018 and 2014, you have here the 3,500 divided by 4, which is your historical demand, which is 4 years. And then, ang gagawin lang dyan is divide lang 3,500 divided by 4. You can come up with the 875. And then in your step 4, so how these things happen. So projected demand, so like for example, you have here that the 2019 of 10,100, and then add lang natin yan doon sa nakuha natin last demand or figure to be added to the last demand, which is 875. So all throughout, okay, of your total, so like for example, ito 2019, so you can come up with 10,975. Ito rin po yung magiging data mo para ma-compute mo yung 2020. So 10,975, add lang natin sa 875. So you can have here the 11,850. And then for 2021, so kinuha lang din natin yan doon sa result natin sa 2020, and then add for 875, you can come up with 12,725. Yun lang din yung gagamitin natin sa 22, and then add again, then 13,600, use for the following year, which is 2023, and then add lang natin sa 875. So you can come up with 14,475. Next naman is the arithmetic geometric curve. So this one, okay, so you need to have the percentage na naman. How can we have the so-called percentage? Obviously, we have here, we need to use the so-called divisions. So for this steps, ayan, compute the percentage of change yearly, and then add the computed percentage of the change in procedure number 1. 3, subtract 1 from the total number of years in historical demand. 4, divide the total computed percentage of change in procedure 2 by the result in procedures. And then for 5, we're going to multiply now the result in procedure 4 in the most recent data. This is the first projected demand. And then for 6th step, the next projected data is computed by multiplying the result in procedure 4 with the first projected data. So now let's have here the example. So the first step, compute the annual percentage of change. So now, okay, using this example, ayan, so the first step, compute the annual percent of change. So we have here, let's say, the available data of 2015 and 2014. So yung 15 natin, we have here the 7,000, and then the 2014 is the 6,600. So ang gagawin mo lang dyan, ililess mo lang, okay, which is 7,000 less 6,600, which is 400, and then i-divide mo lang siya doon sa previous year, which is the 6,600. You can come up with a 6.06%. Next is we have here the 2016. So sa 16, available na ang data niya. 8,500 came from our projected demand. And then sa 7,000, yan po yung past demand natin, which is ito yan, ang galing sa 2015. And then, ilalas mo lang yung 8,500 sa 7,000. And then you can come up with 1,500. Divide mo lang siya doon sa previous year, which is 7,000. You can have the 21.43%. So same thing goes with the 2017 and 18. Then right after mo ma-compute no, yung annual percentage of different demand, go now with the step 2, which is you're going to add all the percentage. Okay, so we have here the 6.06 plus 21.43 plus 10.59 and 7.45%. So you can have 45.53%. Now, for step 3, you're going to subtract 1 from the total number of years in historical data. So again, you have the historical data of 5, and then since it's already given to our step, less ka lang ng isang taon, and then you can come up with the 4 years or 4. And then for step 4, you're going to divide step 2 by step 3. So the total percent is 45.53, which is nanggaling sa step 2. And then you're going to divide it dun sa step 3, which is yung 4. And you can come up with 11.38%. For step 5 naman, you're going to multiply naman the step 4 with the most recent historical demand, which is yung 2018 natin. Kasi siya yung pinaka-last or pinaka-fresh, pinaka-recent. So, ang gagawin mo lang dyan, okay, so you have here the 10,100, yun yung demand mo, and then multiply by 11.38, yun yung nanggaling sa step 4 mo, and then your projected increased demand for the next year is 1,149. And then for the step 6, projected demand would be, yan, gagamitin na natin yung 11.38. So, for the next demand natin for the following years. So, for 2019, okay, 2019, we can project the demand for 2019 once we get na the demand for 2018. So we have here the 10,100 rather, and then multiply by 1138. So nanggaling yan sa step 4, and that will be 1,149. I-add mo lang siya doon sa kanya pong projected, which is 10,100, and then that will be 11,249. So, ganun lang din siya, no? Sa 2020, sa mo nakuha yung 11,249, nanggaling yon doon sa uh, projected demand mo for 2019. And then, ganun lang din, multiply and then add doon sa projected demand mo for 2020. So, same thing with 2021, kukunin mo lang din yung forecasted demand previous year, which is the 12,529. So it's like a domino effect, no? Kung pag nakuha mo yung demand with the current year, you can also use that as your reference for your demand for the current year. All right, so the next one is what we have here, the high-low point method. So this one naman, have here the specific formula, which is the y is equal to a plus bx. So cy, that is the total demand, and then the a naman is the fixed demand without the change in time, b rate for change because of time, and then the x is the time involved. For the 2 naman, the formula to be computed for the rate of change due to time. So B is equal to high demand less low demand, and then divide, or let's say over, no, applicable number of years for highest demand, and then less for the applicable number of years for lowest demand. And the three naman, the formula to compute fixed demand without change in time is A is equal to Y minus BX. Now, let's have here the simple example. Okay, so we have here the year, okay, the local productions, and the importation. So, ito yung nagiging demand, no? Ibig sabihin, in local, or based from the industry, let's say they have 3,900 plus yung ini-import pa. Okay? Kasi nga, kulang yung demand ng aking local production. So, ang nangyari lang dyan, inad lang yan, no? Para magkaroon ng 6,600. So, same thing goes, no, with the year 15, 16, 17, and 18. So, for the first computation, compute the rate of change. So, saan po ba nagkaroon ng change? Sabi kanina, yung pinaka-highest, no? Highest rate o pinaka-highest demand. So, based on this data, our highest demand is 9,400. So, yun lang yung kukunin natin. And then, i-deduct po natin yan doon sa less number of demand, which is the 6,600. And then, over 4, okay? Why is it 4? Kasi yun po yung year, no, na kung saan siya yung mas malaki, no, mas malaki yung demand, which is sa year 4 siya. And then yung pinakamaliit, nangyari yan during year 1, which is yung 2040 natin. So ang gagawin lang, LLS lang natin, no, 9,400 minus 6,600, we have here the 2,800, and then 4 minus 1 is 3. So 2,800 divide 3, we have here the 933.33. For our step 2 naman, compute the fixed demand without time involved. So, using the highest time, which is the 9,400, ililess lang natin yan doon sa nakuha po natin sa ating step 1, which is the 933.33. And then, multiply by 4 kasi yun yung year na kung saan mataas siya. Okay, mataas ang demand. So, we're going to come up with 5,668. And then, gamitin din natin yung lowest time, no? Which is the 6,600. So, same thing. Came from the first step, which is 933. 0.33 multiplied by 1, we have here the 5,667. And for the step 3, project demand using the demand equation of y is equal to a plus bx. So for our 2019, ito na yung ipoproject natin, came from the past demand. Okay, from the past 5 years demand. So si 2019, we have here the 5,667. Okay, so saan nang galing? Dito po sa ating lowest time. And then, we're going to add it, no, doon sa 933.33 multiplied by 6 kasi pang-anim na taon na. Okay, and then we can come up with 11,266. So same thing lang din yan sa 2020, 21, 22, 23. So ang nag-iiba lang dyan is yung number of years. Okay, so dahil ang 2018 natin consider as 5 years, syempre the following year is 6, the following year 7, 8, 9, and okay, so the next method is what we have square method. So in this one naman, the basic formula to predict future demand is what we have, the y is equal to a plus bx. So again, this is also same thing with kanina. However, we're going to sum up no all the data or given data. So we have here the b is equal to summation of x and y. So again, si x is time involved, si y is yung total demand. Is equal to n. Pag sinabing n, series yan. Okay? Kumbaga si series yan yung period or schedule. And then multiply by y again, and then kay x. And then over summation of x squared. So i-multiply lang natin by itself, and then deduction of n, and then multiply by x squared. Okay, or ito yan, summation of x1 minus x multiply by y1 minus y, and then over summation of x1 minus x squared. And then next naman is the third one, the formula to be compute fixed demand without change in time is a is equal to y minus bx. Okay, so the first step, ayan, we're going to compute na. Okay, so let's say we have here the unknown data. Ayan. Given lang siya, given. Okay, so let's say we have here the yung itong x natin, these are the series. Ayan, so series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Meaning to say year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And then multiply by itself lang naman yan. So 1 multiply by 1 is 1, 2 multiply by 2 is 4, and the rest. And then si y naman, okay, so nangyari yan, this is already given by the data. And then the x and y, so i-multiply mo lang yan siya. So you have here the 6,600 multiplied by 1 is 6,600 obviously. And then 6, 8 multiplied by 2, which is 13,600. Okay, so now let's have here the summation of x and y. So once you already computed the x and y, i-add mo lang lahat yan, and you can come up with 120,000. And then the n, which is the series, which is ito yun, okay, 5 taon, which is 5, ayan. And then the x, i-add mo lang lahat, no, nung x natin, which is 15 over 5. Bakit? Again, 5 years. And that is 3. And then sa y naman natin, i-add lang din natin itong part na ito. And then, once we add it all, we're going to divide it by 5. Again, saan ang galing si 5? This is the number of years, okay, which is we can come up with the 7,680. For our summation of x squared, we have here the 1 plus 4 plus 9 plus 16 and plus 25. We can have the 55. Now, let's have substitutes. Now, sa substituting naman natin, syempre kailangan natin ng summation of x and y, which is 120,000 minus 5 came from our n. Okay, multiply by 3 came from our x, and then multiply by y, which is 7,680 over 55. So, saan ang galing si 5? Summation of x squared. Minus 5 again for 5 years. Then multiply by 3, which is our x. And then squared. And then, the result no, of this numerator is 115,200. And then the result of our denominator is 45. So for us to have 4,800, you're going to less this one sa ating numerator. And then for our 480, 55 minus 45. Next tayo sa ating step 2 naman, compute the fixed demand without change and time. So, saan ang galing sa si 7,680? Galing yan sa Y, syempre. And then, less natin yung 480, which is came doon sa ating substitutions. And then, multiply by 3. 3 again came from our X. And then, same thing goes around. So, once we get no, the multiplication of 480 to 3, we have here the 440. So we can come up with 6,240 for the last step, which is project project future demand using the basic equation with y is equal to a plus bx. So again, where the 6,240 came, no? So this is came from the step 2. And then ina-add lang natin siya doon sa 480 na nanggaling doon sa ating substituting data. And then the 6, syempre ito na po yung year natin, no? So again, we are end with the 2018, which is our fifth year. The sixth year is 19, 27, 21, 8, 22, 9, 23 is 10. And then for you to come up with this, so gagawin lang is add and then multiply by the number of years. Okay, so here are the major processes in for you to study demand. That's just about the computations. Okay, so the first one, you need to identify your target consumer. Okay, so bakit po kailangan natin yung malaman? Para po yung effort natin ay hindi po masayang. And then the next one naman is what we have here, gather information of the total past demand. So again, ang lagi mong consideration dyan is kung ano na pong nangyari for the past 5 years. Through that, okay, you can evaluate the demand based on the pattern came from your 5 years past demand. And then, forecast future demand. So, syempre, you're going to add, no, for 5 years, meaning you cannot forecast this without the past demand based from the pattern. And then for the last one, evaluate future demand projection. So, dito natin gagamitan syempre ng iba't ibang klaseng tools which yung mga diniscuss ko kaninang mga projected tools. Yung projected tools natin na yan, nagva-vary yan, syempre depende doon ah, sa movement no nung demand na meron doon sa specific product or services natin. Now, let's talk about market segmentation, which is I believe you are very much familiar with this one. Once we talk about segmentation, you are able to um, filtered in no yung different demand of your target market. So, once you filtered the different demand, yan, pwede mo na sila ngayong i-segment. So, pag sinabing segmentation, dinidivide mo na sila ngayon according to their specific needs and wants. So, ano po ba yung mga characteristics natin? So, syempre, anong klaseng consumer ba? No, si customers. So, ano bang behavior meron siya no in purchasing products or services. And then income classification, syempre we always need to take a look kung kaya ba nilang bayaran or capability or availability of their finances. And then for the third one, use of products or services, saan ba nila gagamitin? Casually ba, usually, or normally days? So yan, kailangan natin malaman kung kailan no nila ito i-avail or on what way nila ito i-avail. And then location, make it sure that your product is accessible syempre para sa mga consumers mo. And then the next one is the age. Why we need to consider the age, not just about the availability of their finances but also their preferences. Okay, now let's talk about supply. So again, ayan, once we talk about supply, ito na po yung availability ni business no to offer the product. Ibig sabihin, available na siyang ibenta. That is what we call the supply. So these are the following processes no na pwede mong gawin. First, conduct a thorough study about your competitors. So again, ang ating magiging data of supply nanggaling kay competitors. Bakit? Kasi sila yung nagsusupply sa ating consumers. And then gather information on historical supply. So dito ka na ngayon magkakaroon ng interview based no according to your competitors within the vicinity. And then evaluate supply growth pattern. Paano malalaman? Syempre, dahil you have the certain Q&A no, with your competitors, malalaman mo ngayon kung kailan no, nagkakaroon ng pagbaba ng supply at pagtaas ng supply. Syempre, according din ito doon sa mga suppliers na meron yung ating mga competitors. And then, next is the forecast future supply. Future. How can you forecast? Syempre kapag ka dumadami na no, yung nagtitinda or dumadami na yung competitors. Yan. You also need to check kung sufficient pa ba o hindi na sufficient yung supply na pwede natin gawin kay consumers. And then evaluate the result of your future forecast. Why do you need to evaluate it? Again, Okay? Para po malaman natin kung ilan po yung quantity na kakailanganin ng demand ng ating consumers. Okay, so note, if there's no historical data is available kasi somehow it's very crucial no to us no you need to conduct a survey no. Para po yung survey na yon ito yung magiging valid data na meron ka, alright, based from your interview base, no? Or let's say meron kang certain questions with your competitors, yan. Kasi naaral mo yung ano yung industry na meron sila. So in this means, no, once you gathered information came from your competitors na, okay, dito mo na ngayon malalaman kung nagtutugma ba yung kinumpit nating demand doon sa supply na binibigay ni competitor. So kapag ka nagtugma yan, that's what we call quantum is recommended. Meaning to say, kailangan natin siyang pantayan or kailangan nating sobrahan pa. Yan. Para syempre, mas maganda na meron kang available supply rather than your consumers no will have a problem because wala siyang pagkukunan ng supply. So now here we have the simple example on how quantum happen. Pag sinabi kasing quantum, ito yung paano mo babalansehin no, yung demand according to the available of supply. So let's have here no the information came from Cainta Rizal. So ang kanilang household population is 110,721 and then yung based doon sa kanilang nakuwang data on terms of their population kasi finiltered out nila yan no according to let's say ang kanilang product is cosmetics so tinanggal na nila doon yung populations of kalalakihan o kaya naman yung cosmetic let's say tinanggal na nila yung populations ng mga bata, mga baby, ganyan, or kids. So they are more focused on the young adults or yung mga adults professionals natin. So kaya tinanggal na nila yung 7% kasi hindi yun yung kanilang target market. So, by means of that, yan, nakakita sila ng numbers of potential market kasi dinadak nila yung 7%. Which yung 7% again, these are not qualified target market. Again, so paano mo nalaman? Because of their demographic profile. And then multiply lang yan sa amount spent of the buyer. So gaano ba kalaki lang ang kaya niyang i expense yan ibili, let's say meron lang siyang 100 no to spend, and then multiply lang natin yan doon sa net potential market natin, so we can come up with the 10,297,100. And then buying annual frequently, gaano kadalas silang bumibili sa isang buong taon. Let's say they based on your interview, no? Majority of your target market, no? 15 times silang bumibili sa loob ng isang taon. And then you're going to multiply it again by 15 years. So you can come up with 154,456,500. And then you're going to divide it to propose average price. So pag sinabing proposed average price, ito naman po yung presyo na kung saan majority no ng let's say ng competitor's price mo is same with this one. And for you to get the annual demand, you're going to divide the annual spending to the proposed average price, which is you can come up with 5,419,526 units or quantity. And then, the supply naman, let's say, the estimate monthly sales of your competitors is 180,000. And then multiply by the months in a year, which is 12. And then the annual sales is 2,160,000. And then multiply it by the numbers of competitors in the same locations. So, meaning to say, ilan ba sila yung nagsusupply or ilan ba sila nagtitinda no, ng same product or services. Let's say, there is a 13 competitors. And then, you were going to yan, multiply na yung ating annual sales doon sa numbers of competitors. So we can come up with 28,080,000. And then, you're going to divide it with the average price of product based on the survey of your suppliers' opinion. So, dito malalaman natin kung magkano ba no yung availability to sell in a certain price, which is, ayan nga, nanggaling yan kay ating supplier, which is 30 pesos. So now, we're going to divide it and we can come up with the 936,000 units. So kung napansin ninyo, yung demand natin ay hindi, no, sumasapat doon sa ating supply. Napakalaki ng diferensya. Okay, so sa annual demand, we have here the 5,419,526 units demand. Pero yung kaya lang i-supply is 936 unit came from our competitors. So meaning to say, meron tayong gap, okay, which is the 4,483,526 units na pwede natin maging part as our market share kung tayo ay yung magbubukas ng bagong business natin, no, or came from our feasibility study. Ilan yung gap that we can be a part of that market share. Okay, so based on the projected demand, okay, from the available data, okay, let's say we have here, no, the listing of demand per year and then the projected supply na kaya lang ibigay ng ating nasa paligid, yung mga competitors natin. So, dito malalaman natin kung sumusobra ba yung supply natin or hindi nasa-satisfy yung number of our demand. So, dito obviously, nagano tayo dito, unsatisfied demand yan, kulang. Same thing with 2022, ganun din. Same thing with 2021, same thing. 2022 is also same thing. And 2023, it's also same thing. So, meaning, we have here, no, the possible, no, market share of 108,300. Okay, so now let's talk about technical aspect. So once we talk about technical, ito po yung procedure, no, na ginagawa para makagawa ng isang product. Example, step A, step B, step C, or step 1, step 2, step 3. So it's all about the procedure of creating your product or providing your service. So these are the aspect that we need to consider in our technical study. So first po, product or service. Syempre kailangan natin i-identify kung ano ba yung appearance niyan, ano ba yung pinaka-prototype natin dyan. No? Ano ba yung itsura niyan? Yung itsura ba niyan is it's also relevant doon sa kanyang use or sa kanyang specification or features. Next naman is the mechanical part. So ito naman yung medyo technical yung product mo. Okay? So kapag technical yung product mo, every part of your product is usable. And then the next one is chemical content or property. So ito naman yung, let's say, um, mga chemical, let's say mga pintura, ganyan, o kaya naman perfume. Okay, so kailangan alam natin kung ilan lang yung let's say mga alcohol content yan or chemical content yan. Meron dapat tayong specification of percent. And then consumers or industrial. Yung product po ba natin is B2C, no? Business to consumers, or B2B, which is business to business. And then another thing, yung product po ba natin is perishable, mabili po bang mabulok? Let's say for example, pagkain, bulaklak, mga ganyan. So madali lang siyang mabulok or hindi, meaning all throughout, no? Kaya siyang pakinabangan. And then service and benefits. So the product obviously definitely have benefits to our consumers. And then the product similarities. So si product similarities naman, you have variety of product, pero yung variety of product na yun ay magkakaparehas, no, ang tulong nila o yan service na pwedeng maibigay. And then sa manufacturing process, so ito na po yung steps natin. Anong klaseng product ba yan? Let's say pagkain, ganyan. So ano ba yung step 1, step 2, o kaya naman assembly line. Ayan. So ano yung step 1 sa assembly line natin? And then characteristics of raw materials. So sa characteristics of our raw materials, let's say yung materials na yan is very fast moving. So you need to have numbers of inventory, o kaya naman kung yung raw materials na yan ay hindi masyadong gamitin, so meaning may stock siya ng matagal na panahon, which is it can really affect, no, with our manufacturing process and obviously our expected quality. Kaya nga po meron tayong tinatawag na quality assurance or quality control yan para bago siya pumunta sa susunod na steps is okay na, no, yung quality ng product. Or kung hindi siya okay, syempre i-eliminate natin siya doon sa process. And then the plant capacity. So ito yung kailangan din natin i-consider, lalo na kapag we have a lot of things to consider. Let's say yung mga machineries, office works natin, ganyan. Yung plant capacity is also considered din dito yung mga warehouse natin, gaano ba kalaki yan, yan. And then the next one is um, production schedule. So, meron tayong tinatawag na forwarding schedule or backward scheduling. So, the difference of these two are, okay, pag sinabi po natin forwarding scheduling, ito po yung from si customers, no? Meron siyang order bago, kasi may mga product or services na ano siya, modification o kaya customized, no? Um, Yun. So, kailangan naka-receive muna ng order, no, si business na bago niya ito gawin sa manufacturing at saka niya ngayon ito isa-ship. Okay? And then, meron din tayo tinatawag na backward scheduling. Okay, so paano naman ito nangyayari? So, first, ayan, i-deliver. And then, okay, ang pinagkaiba ng backward scheduling is that si business nakakuha siya ng order, tapos yung order na yon merong specification kung kailan siya dapat ma-deliver. So, ayan. So, first is the delivery. So, you need to project, no? Or kailangan meron kang plan, no? Kung paano mo ma-deliver yung product kay consumers or kay business. Kasi let's say yung binibili nila sa atin is raw materials, meron silang specific date kung kailan ito dapat may deliver sa kanila para makapag-run din sila ng business nila. And then right after the scheduling of delivery, ayan, you're going to prepare, no, your shipment. It's either by land, by air, or by sea. And then tsaka na ngayon magkakaroon ng tinatawag na product manufacturing. So, dito na ngayon gagawin yung ating produkto. And then, assemble na natin yung for the second one is the shipment preparation. So, sa shipment preparation natin, dahil nga meron tayong exact date to be delivered, alamin na natin yung mga consideration para po mapabilis, no, yung delivery concerns natin. So, let's say, what are the mode of transportation that we can use, or ano-ano ba yung mga kailangang materials para i-deliver natin kay business or kay client yung kanilang in-order. And then, once we already filling out, no, or find out yung information about the shipment, that is the time naman na gagawin natin yung pinapagawa ni consumers or ni clients. At saka natin ito i-run ngayon sa production. So, once na na-run natin ito sa production, okay, pag sinabing assembly, dito naman na gagawin, no, yung pinaka-produkto. Okay, bakit? Kasi may date si clients, and then at the same time, na-set mo na lahat ng mga consideration in terms of shipment. Nalaman mo na din yung mga product or yung mga raw materials, specifications, and features na kailangan i-assemble. And then, once everything's are settled, this is the time that you're going to assemble, no, yung binili o yung in-order ng ating clients. And then, another thing, syempre, we also need to consider the plant locations and layout. Hindi po, may machineries ka or may office ka, yun na yun. So, kailangan yung design ng layout mo is magiging productive, no? Yung trabaho. Hindi yan kung saan ka okay na space, yun na yun. No. It's all about um, the efficiency of the jobs inside. Kumbaga, let's say, yung procedures, kailangan natin siyang i-consider. Okay? Kaya yung layout natin, this is not about architectural design. It's not about that. It's about yung procedures natin is mapabilis according to sa layout na meron tayo. And then, the next one is machineries, equipment, and tools. So, ano ba yung kakailanganin mong machineries? No? Meron kang different specification para po mas lalo mo padali ang trabaho, no, ng operations natin. And then, it's either brand new or second hand yan. Syempre, kapag ka brand new, mahal. Pag second hand, kung okay pa naman, why not? Kasi, always remember na every now and then we need to minimize our cost. And then syempre consider dyan syempre yung ating acquisition cost kapag ka tayo ay bibili, no? Majority of the business, no, they are not buying full payment, no? They are always on the finances. Okay, nagfi-finances sila, meaning nangungutang sila. And then, the next one is building structures and other facilities. Nagbi-build tayo ng structured or facilities kasi ito yung kinakailangan sa ating operations. Okay? Let's say you need to expand. Yan. So, make it sure yung mga kalapit na area within your vicinities is available. And anong klaseng building ba yan? Let's say, if your operation is technically providing a supply, no? Syempre dapat okay yung ating ano diyan, air conditions. Syempre para hindi masuffocate yung mga tao natin. At the same time, they can also work because yung motion, no, na tinatawag doing their job. And then syempre meron din yan kaakibat ulit na gastos. Let's say wala ka pang pambili, nagre-rent ka. So yung renting natin hindi yan uh, technically rent, no? It's for lease, meaning to say, um, dun ka, no? For how many years? Yan. Kumbaga, meron tayong contract, no? For that renting type. And then, the waste disposal system. So, lagi yung tatandaan sa operation, lagi pong may tapon. Meaning to say, laging may nagiging waste, no? So, ano ba yung consideration mo to have the so-called disposal or pagtatapon? Syempre una, practice of the community. Let's example na lang yung pinaka-minimal. Syempre, Claygo, di ba? Um, Magsinabing Claygo, clean as you go, sa office, doon sa within the workstation. So, bago mag-out, dapat malinis yung area, ganyan. So, dapat aware, fully aware, or nagiging part na siya, no, nung trabaho ng mga employees natin. And then expected volume of waste. Dapat meron ka lang um, numbers kung ilan lang yung madidispose. Yan. Kasi again, waste is also sayang. Imbes na napagkakitaan mo na, it just so happen nung niran sa production hindi maganda yung quality. So meron ka lang dapat na um, numbers, no? Numbers na max na hanggang dito lang dapat yung mawa-waste. Kasi, again, ang waste natin is also considered as cost. And then, syempre, para hindi siya totally masayang, you need to have the so-called recyclable waste, no? Hindi po pwedeng tapon na lang yan, no? Kailangan, as much as possible, kung kayang pagkakitaan, yan, gagawin natin ng paraan. And then, at the same time, is the estimated cost. So, sa pagtatapon kasi, may mga binabayaran din tayo dyan, no? Tatapon mo na lang nga lang, babayaran mo pa. Yes, may mga company na bago sila magtapon, okay, pinapa-analyze mo na nila yan in a certain business before it will be disposed. Lalo na kung yung mga materials is harmful, may mga chemicals and so on. So, pinapa-analyze mo na yan kung kailangan ng itapon, saan pwedeng itapon, and so on and so forth. So, may mga tayo dyan, may mga businesses tayo na ang trabaho or yung service na ino-offer is about disposal. So, kapag gumamit tayo ng mga ganitong agency or mga businesses or nag-avail tayo ng kanilang service, meron siyang additional cost. And then the next one is the raw materials requirement. So dito, syempre we have here the suppliers and then approximately source of our raw materials. We don't need to settle for one suppliers only, lalo na kapag um, yung product natin is fast moving. So meaning, hindi tayo pwedeng mag-rely lang sa isang suppliers. As much as possible, marami dapat tayong suppliers na pwede nating pagkunan para kapag nagkaroon ng demand si clients or si consumers, meron tayong pwedeng maibigay or maibenta sa kanila. And then, approximately of source of raw materials, so yun nga siya, the more the merrier, no, of our suppliers. And then alternative raw materials, again, kapag nagkaroon ng demand si customers and then you don't have the primary, no, supplies. However, may mga supplies ka pa na pwede mong gamitin sa other clients na yung clients mo naman na yun ay hindi naman urgent need. no, kanyang um, doon sa kanyang request or doon sa kanyang purchase, pwede na muna natin gamitin, no, as alternative raw materials. And then, kapag wala, naubusan, syempre, we also need to consider the import, no, import of raw materials. Lalo na kung hindi naman talaga siya ino-offer, no, within the country. And then, syempre, meron tayong estimated cost dyan. Yung cost natin in terms of transpo, in terms din, syempre, nung pinaka-presyo ng raw materials natin. And then, we also need to consider the so-called trend. Okay, bakit? Kasi, kung ano yung kakailanganin na demand for a certain period of time, make it sure that you have the raw materials for you to supply it to your consumers. And then, the next one is direct labor requirement. Siyempre, kailangan din natin ng tao kahit na meron tayong mga machineries or kahit na medyo high-tech na, no, yung business natin. Because without people, walang mag-observe, no, kung tama ba yung ginagawa ng machine or walang mag-maintenance ng machine. So, ilan yung oras na kakailanganin, no, para sa stations na yon. And then at the same time, how many workers that we need. And syempre the wage, magkano yung kailangan nating ipasahod sa kanila. So, ang sahod kasi, hindi lang ito minimum wage, no? Depende rin syempre kung ang trabaho is hazardous, syempre kailangan mo ring bayaran yun. And then, the utility and other overhead requirements. So, pag sinabing overhead, ito yung mga gastos na indirect siya. Okay, indirect siya. Meaning kasi hindi natin siya talaga ginagamit sa operation. Pero kailangan natin siya sa operation. So one of the best example is utility. You cannot run a business without syempre electricity at saka syempre yung tubig natin, no? So that's part of the utility. Even yung mga internet, telephone, mga utilities. Mga tawag yan is overhead cost and also expected consumptions for utilities. Pag sinabi expected, the forecast mo na, no? Na dahil, let's say, 24 hours yung operation. So, might as well, tataas ang inyong magiging bill sa kuryente. And also, types of overhead costs. So, ano-ano yung mga types na yan? Meron kasi tayo mga costs na kung saan fixed naman yan. So, like, for example na lang is yung mga landline. O kaya naman internet connection. Mga fixed yan, no? Fixed yung monthly payment na binabayad talaga natin. Hindi katulad ng mga water at saka ng electricity. Yan, nagva-vary siya. Depende doon sa numbers of consumptions. Next naman, ayan, let's talk about the legal aspect. So, dito sa Philippines, no, napakadami nating legalities na kailangan natin talagang i-consider. Kasi without this legality, ayan, there's a possibility na yung business natin, whether we like it or not, pag pinasara ng government yan, wala tayong magagawa. So, what we need to do is to follow, no, the different aspect na ino-offer, let's say, sa different localities kasi magkakaiba ang policies sa different cities. Okay? So, the first one is the registration of business process. Siyempre, magre-register ka ng business mo, anong klaseng type of business ba yan. And at the same time, you also need to consider the SEC or Security Exchange Commission. And then, the barangay permit, the local government unit na kung saan ito talaga yung mga permits, no, na kakailanganin within your business. And then, syempre, you also need to consider the BIR, no, because this is our obligation, no, to the community. And also, the SSS, no, of our employees, even yung kanilang PhilHealth, yung kanilang Pag-ibig at saka yung mga other government agencies pa na kailangan nating sundin, no? Not just about the benefits of our business but also the benefits of our employees as well. Okay, so the next one is what we have here, the financial aspect. So dito na natin titignan kung nagpro-prosper ba yung business natin, no? Para malaman mo or ang pinaka crucial, no, kung kailan nababankrupt or nag-growth ang business is about how will you do pricing, no, on your product or your services. Kapag hindi kasi okay yung pricing mo, it will really affect, no, with your financial. So sa financial feasibility, obviously this is concerned doon sa mga gastusin natin. At the same time, the projected future performance of our business. So sa ating feasibility study, this is composed by 5 parts. So first is the preparation of financial assumption. So ano-ano yung mga gastusin na kakailanganin. And then you're going to calculate expenses kapag ka nagsisimula ka pa lang. So, ang tawag dyan is startup expense. And then, syempre, you're also making a profit strategy and cash flow projections. So, dito, bakit ka nagkakaroon ng projections? Kasi, um, depende ito, di ba, sa demand ng ating market. Let's say si market meron siyang weekly demand. So, you need to supply it, and at the same time, syempre pag nag-supply ka, kailangan mong bumili, meron kang cash flow which is outflow yon kapag ka bumili ka, inflow kapag ka nakakolekta ka na. And then, for the fourth preparation naman, projected financial statement. So, meron tayong different FS na tawag dyan, which is yung ating um, balance sheet, and income statement, ratio analysis, and so on and so forth. And then, once you have the projected FS, you're going to prepare na, no? Yung mga sinabi ko kaninang mga different types of FS, yun nga, yung mga income statement, yung mga balance sheet, yung mga ratio analysis, and so on and so forth. Okay, so for us to understand, no, a typical business startup, ito yung mga cost na talagang meron, hindi siya talaga nawawala. Siyempre, una dyan is the expenses for research. Siyempre, meron kang transpo dyan, meron kang patoken, no, sa mga ini-interview mo, o doon sa mga binibigyan mo ng survey, at saka, siyempre, yung mga papers, yung research itself, no? You have expenses for that. And then the borrowing fees. So pag sinabing borrowing fees, nangutang ka, may percent yun, di ba? May interest yan. And then the fees for insurance, license, and permit. So ito yung mga legality na kailangan sundin ni business. And even yung technology natin, well, let's say, you need to have cellphone, no? Or gadget para makakuha ka um, ng orders. Yan. So, you need to have technologies. And then, syempre, para mas madali sa yung come up with your FS, yan, you need to use spreadsheet. So, yan, we need to maximize kasi the use of technology. Kasi nga, again, binabayaran natin yan. And then the next one is the supply. Syempre, kapag nag-start up ka, dapat available yung mga product mo. And initial supplies, how much it is. And then another one, the furnitures and equipment. Lalo na kung ang business mo is, let's say, mga cafeteria, o kaya naman mga restaurant, ganyan. So, you really need to invest, no? O kaya yung mga spa, yan, o kaya yung mga beauty centers. So, you need to invest, no? When it comes to your furnitures and equipment. And then, obviously, gagastos din tayo in terms of our promotions and ads. Let's say, you need to print, no? A tarpaulin, o kaya naman, you need to boost your ads, in different social media. So, may bayad pa din siya. And then, syempre, yung salaries and wage. Kahit hindi pa tayo kumikita, so since si employee, nagtatrabaho na siya sa atin, so karapatan nilang bigyan ng sahod. So yun, that's also part of our cost. And then, we have another cost pa that we need to consider. Example, yung mga miscellaneous expenses, yan. Kailangan din natin siya i-consider as our gastos, no? Or bago tayo makapagsimula ng ating business. Okay, so we have here, no, a certain procedure on how we can conduct our FS or yung financial study natin. So first dyan, we need to clear, no? We need to set a clearly assumptions and basis. Like for example, your projection is you're going to have let's say 1 million in a month. Clear yun, no? Yun yung assumption mo. Make sure yung assumption mo na yun, may basis ka. Okay? Kasi without basis, ano yan, suntok sa buwan yan. And the number 2 naman, total cost of the proposed project. So, dito naman, no, sa ating total cost, based on your research, no, ilan ba yung, magkano ba yung, let's say, blender, kapag ikaw ay nag-open um, ng mga ice blend, ganyan, magkano ba yung mga furniture na gagamitin, lighting, renovations of the place, and so on and so forth. So you need to project, no, how much the cost of that certain project. And then, for number three, identify the sources of financing. So again, pag sinabing financing, ito yung pangungutang. Bago ka mangutang, syempre kailangan mo munang malaman kung ilan ang percentage, ano niyan, interest niyan. Baka naman lamunin ka ng interest, di ba? Hindi ka na nga kumikita, nagbabayad ka pa ng sobrang laking interest. So, you need to study, no, all the different financing source. And then for number four, okay, projected financial statement. So, dito na, meron ka ng cost, meron ka na rin um, projected income. Yan, pwede mo na siyang gawa ng FS. And then, once you already have the FS, this is the time that you're going to analyze, okay pa ba ang takbo ng business ko? Yan, based sa FS na meron ka. Kasi kung naglo-loss ka na, hindi, ang tendency nun, hindi ka hindi susuko ka na ha. Ang tendency nun, you need to change your service or you need to change your product. Okay? And then, yan. Next is the total project cost. So, pag sinabing project cost, ito na yung totality talaga, no? Hindi lang sa startup, pati yung mga things that you need to consider. So, syempre, una dyan, cost of land. Lalo na kapag kinakailangan mo talaga ng napakalaking spasyo at para sa'yo, mas makakatipid ka kapag bumili ka, 'di ba, ng lupa. Pero may mga din na business din na nagsisimula parang from the scratch na tolerable pa, no, na gumastos sila ng renta, no, sa building. And then syempre the cost of machineries, it takes millions kasi pag machinery, yung mga heavy machineries na ginagamit sa productions, and other infrastructure costs. Like for example na lang yung mga equipment, yung parking lot, minsan may mga nirerentahan tayong mga building na even yung parking lot pinaparentahan din. Okay, and then the drainage system, syempre para yung waste natin ay hindi makaabala pa sa iba. And even the pollution system, pollutant, kasi this is came from our waste eh. And then the shortage or shore, and then the last one is the storage facilities. So, dito naman, syempre, yung pinaka-inventory mo o yung pinaka-warehouse mo. And then, the next one is the working capital requirements. So, yan. Magkano ba yung kakailanganin mo? All of this. Yan. Working capital requirements. And then the next one, meron ka bang mga professional, okay, professional needs in terms of your business? Let's say lawyer, syempre, in terms of business law, accountant, para meron ng tao, no, natitingin ng iyong finances. So, kung iintindihin mo na lang is to market your product. And then, engineers, syempre sila yung nakakaalam nung pinaka-efficient na way, no, to build a certain building or to allocate a certain utilities kung saan siya pwedeng ilagay. Even yung kailangan pa rin ba natin ng mga architect, yan, para mas mukhang aesthetic yung ating lugar. Yan. At also, yung mga economies natin in terms of our supply and demand, no, and the financial analyst. And then the next one is the processing fees and business permit. So yan, ito talaga yung sa lahat ng gastusin, ito talaga yung bibigyan mo talaga ng importansya. Okay, however, may mga naman fees na pwedeng nagbi-business ka na tapos at saka mo pa lang siya inaasikaso. May ganun kasi minsan may mga permits na you need to prove something. Yan. You cannot prove something kapag hindi mo pa naroon ng business. And then, another is the projected financial statement. So, for you to project it, you need to have informations. Ayan. Everything must be disclosed. So, una dyan is profitability of the operating activities. So, let's say, sa loob po ba ng 8 oras na nagpo-produce kayo, ilang po ba or magkano po ba yung projected income natin or profit natin para dyan? And then, the liquidity condition. Okay, so once we talk about liquidity condition, ito naman po yung mga assets natin that can easily converted into cash. Okay? Kasi may mga pagkakataon na may mga sitwasyon, no, na hindi nagiging pabor sa atin. So, let's say, we are offering, let's say, mga burger, ganyan. So, hindi na siya demand. So, ang gagawin mo, yung mga equipment mo na yun, you need to sell, no? For you to purchase another supply or another machineries na pwede mong gamitin for your new business. And then the next one is the solvency status. Once we talk about solvency naman, this is the obligations, no, na meron tayo kasi nagfi-finance tayo, 'di ba? Gumagamit tayo ng different financing tools or medium, nangungutang tayo. So, sa solvency, this is how can we measure, no, our ability, no, to pay yung mga tinatawag natin na long-term debts. And then the next one is management efficiency and handling resources. So dapat yung mga tao, no, na ilalagay natin in consuming our raw materials ay hindi sila let's say magastos or hindi sila dapat as much as possible kung ano yung raw materials na available, they need to maximize the use of that. And then the next one is the adaptability performance. So once we talk about adaptability performance, ito naman po yung way of our thinking, no, on how can we solve a specific problem na kung saan yung problem na ito, it can help us, no, to learn new things or new tasks. Okay, so now here we have here the common financial statement included in the study. So first is the comprehensive income. So dito natin makikita kung magkano yung napapasok na pera sa atin or magkano yung nabibenta natin, let's say in a daily basis or a monthly or in a yearly. Next naman is the financial position. So sa financial position, gaano ba ka-stable yung ating finances in spite na meron tayong mga liabilities, no, na kailangan nating bayaran. And then the next one is the statement of cash flow. Sa statement of cash flow naman, it deals with yung mga gastos natin na may kaakibat na income. So in here we have the inflows and outflows. So pag sabing inflows, income, we are able to generate income. Pag sinabing outflows, in spite of our expenses. Next naman is the statement in changes equity. Pag sinabing equity, ito po yung earnings, no, na meron sa business na kung saan, okay, this kind of financial statement na pwede niyang i-measure yung pagbabago nung owner's equity. Pag sinabing owner's equity, it can be also involve our investors. Okay, so saan siya nakikita or paano natin malalaman? Siyempre, this is definitely the numbers of raw materials that we purchase. Siyempre, kasama yan sa mga gastos. Required number of units to be produced during a specific period of time. Even the manufacturing cost, yung cash natin in terms of payment, kasi nga may mga obligations tayo, even yung mga lapsing natin, yung mga depreciation schedule, and even yung mga compensation ng ating mga empleyado, and even the amortization schedule. So, nagbabago yan. Kasi nga, again, nakadepende yun sa kinikita at sa ginagastos ng ating business. So, nagbabago yung equity. No? Pag sinabing equity, ito yung earnings natin. No? Nagbabago ang earnings kasi nga nagkakaroon tayo ng changes of cost and also variety or let's say magkakaiba, no, ng income na pinapasok sa ating business. Okay, so here are the things that we need to consider for us to do our projected financial statement. Siyempre, una dyan, you need to have the so-called balance sheet. Yan. So, para saan yung balance sheet? Para malaman mo, siyempre, kung ano-ano yung mga assets na meron ka. At the same time, ano-ano yung mga liability na meron ka. So, dapat, it must be balanced. Kaya nga siya tinawag na balance sheet. So, meaning, you have this certain numbers of asset, you have this amount of asset na equivalent doon sa mga liabilities na dapat mong bayaran. So, ano-ano yung mga assumptions natin? Siyempre, numbers of units to be produced, ilan yung kakailanganin natin na magiging supply, and also the raw materials to purchase, overhead costs, the manufacturing costs, even yung numbers of units to sell, amortization schedule, appreciation, compensation, and even our utility costs. Kasama yan doon sa ating magiging assumption for us to compute our balance sheet. And then for number 2, ito na ngayon tayo magpe-prepare ng ating income statement. So where the income statement came from. So at least 5 years in your sensitivity analysis. So first is your sales, the cost of goods sold, and even the cost of goods manufactured, and even the operating expenses. And then for step 3, prepare your projected statement of cash flow covering at least 5 years. So meaning, kaya mo makasurvive the business mo sa loob ng 5 taon. Ma'am, paano namin ito malalaman? Remember, you have the demand, di ba? You have the supply. So based on the demand of supplies, you have the certain numbers or amount to be computed. And then for number 4, prepare a projected statement of changes in your equity. So dapat, pag sinabing changes in equity, ito yung projected changes na meron ng isang grupo. Okay, kasi lahat kayo dyan, you are part of the investors. And then per 5, prepare a projected balance sheet covering at least again 5 years. Next is let's have the financial statement analysis. Para po ba ito saan? No? Yung financial statement natin, dito natin makikita kung nagiging profitable pa ba si business even though we have liabilities, no, to be paid. Yeah. So how can we analyze this? We have here a certain analysis, no, para malaman natin kung kaya ba ma-survive the business even though may mga liabilities siya. So first is the horizontal or comparative analysis. In this one, okay, this is the analysis that we can use once we need to compare, no, the historical information in terms of our finances over various reporting periods. So dito malalaman natin kung okay pa ba yung ating financial stability versus doon sa ating mga competitors. And then, kaya siya tinawag na comparison. So this kind of technique, okay, we can use this as our comparison, no, for us to determine the yearly company growth. And then, the next one is the vertical. Sa vertical naman, ang kanya namang ina-analyze is yung particular financial statement lang. Okay, so based on only one financial statement for a specific reporting period. So, ang pinagkaiba nila, no, ni horizontal, si horizontal kasi it's all about comparison of their specific financial statement, no, with other periods. Pero, si vertical, so ano lang siya, their analysis is only one base financial statement. And then the next one is the trend percentage financial ratio. Sa trend percentage naman, this is also called as index number na kung saan makakatulong, no, sa business para makumpara niya yung kanyang kinikita, no, from the previous year, okay, versus doon sa current year. And then, it can also calculated by percent, no, depende kay business kung ilang percent yung pwede niyang gamitin para makumpara niya yung kanyang financial statement. And then the next one is the financial ratio. Sa financial ratio naman, napakadaming ratio, no, na kaakibat dyan. So, una dyan is yung liquidity ratio. So, sa liquidity ratio, this is the ability of the company to measure their abilities to pay, syempre doon sa kanilang mga debts, no, specifically yung mga tinatawag natin na mga short-term debts. And then, another one is the solvency ratio. So, pag sinabing solvency ratio naman, ito yung utang natin na we have this kind of utang because we have different levels of assets, equity, and even the earnings. So, like for example na lang dyan is yung debt equity ratio, even yung debt issues natin, yung mga kautangan, or even the interest coverage ratio. And another ratio is definitely the profitability ratio. So, dito nalalaman ni company kung paano siya nakakapag-generate ng profit para nanggaling doon sa kanyang operation. So, dito natin makikita yung profit margin, yung return on assets, even yung returns on equity, returns of capital, and even yung tinatawag na gross margin ratio. In financial ratio also, we also have the so-called efficiency ratio. So sa efficiency naman, si business no kaya niyang i-evaluate kung gaano pa ka-efficient yung mga assets niya. Okay? Kung ibig sabihin yung assets and liabilities na yon, it can still generate income or profit no sa kanila. And then, para nila malaman yung efficiency ratio, makikita nila ito sa mga turnover ratio, doon sa kanilang inventory, even doon sa kanilang sales inventory. And then, another ratios is the coverage ratio. So, sa coverage ratio naman, dito naman nalalaman ni company yung kanilang ability to pay no interest doon sa kanilang mga obligation. So ang mga inclusion dyan is yung mga interest earn ratio, even yung debt service coverage ratio. And also we have here the market prospect ratio. So sa market prospect ratio naman, dito naman napipredict no, ni investors kung magkano yung kanyang kikitain at saka depende sa nagiging performance nito, current and even the future performance. So, kaakibat ito yung mga dividend yield, yung mga PE ratio, yung tinatawag natin na EPS o yung earnings per share or even yung dividend payout ratio. And next, we have here the socioeconomic aspect. So, ito naman yung tinatawag natin na giving back to the community. Kasi nga, si business ay kumikita. No? So, una dyan is the owners and investors. Ano yung tulong natin sa kanila? Okay, ano yung tulong natin sa sarili natin? Bukod doon sa experience, expertise, syempre pati yung equity no, na pwede natin ibigay kay investors. And then, the next one is the management. Next one is ano yung possible na pwedeng matulong no, ni management sa kanyang mga empleyado. And then number three is the customer. So sa customers natin, ano yung tulong ng product or ng services natin sa kanila. And then the community. Okay, so sa community, how the community become benefited to us. No? Let's say, in terms ng income ng business, it can help the economy to improve, growth, and even to become more active. No? The community become active. And then the next one is the government. Obviously, we are talking about taxes. And then the other stakeholders, which is our investors as well. And at the same time, kasama din dyan yung ating mga suppliers, the government itself, not just about the investors, even yung mga nasa internal environment natin. And also the risk management plan. So, pag sinabi naman natin risk management plans, it talks about the entire plan of a business in terms of uncertainties even. Okay, so this is a documents of the whole process, so including yung mga including the identifying or even evaluating or mitigating the different risks. So it can also include the risk control monitoring or even yung tinatawag natin na cost benefit analysis and the financial impact or even yung tinatawag natin na risk management process. And then the last one is the proposed corporate social responsibility program or ito yung mga program ni business. Let's say meron siyang mga pa-sponsorship o kaya meron siyang mga scholarship o kaya naman meron siyang mga pa-free medications and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. Any questions is highly appreciated.